Hello and welcome to Board Deck and Dice. Today we're looking at the game of 49. Let's see how it plays. In game of 49 you are trying to get your colour counters in a row of 4 on the board. This can be diagonally or vertically or horizontally. Once you get a row of 4 you are the winner. To get your counters onto the board, you need to win bids. Each player starts off with 49 money, pounds in this one, pounds, and well, they're everything. They've got every money symbol on. And the first player has a token. They will draw a card from the card box, and that is the number we are bidding on, number 30. To show everyone what we are bidding on, they take the marker and place it on the board. There is a minimum bid value and the first player may check and bid later if everyone passes. Checking just means they're going to see what they do. If they pass, they're out, they cannot bid again. So the first player might say check, the next player might say 4, next player might say 5, and then the original player gets a chance to put a bid in, but if everyone else is passed, they can get it for 4. So, let's say red bid the most, they will pay 5, and they will get their counter out like that. This then goes to them because it's a tiebreaker, and then the next card is drawn by the next player, and this is a slightly special one. This says wild 1 to 24. Minimum bid 3 and payoff 7 per marker on the board. So if you win this one, you can place a token on any space that's in the range, so 1 to 24, unless it's already got a token on. And after this, whether it's passed and discarded, whether no one wins it, or whether someone wins it, everyone gets a payoff of $7 per token on the board to a maximum of $49. So they can't take more than 49. So at some point in the game, most people are going to be taking 49. If you play a 2-player game, there's different rules about the payoff, but for most plays, you're going to be using that 7 per token and so on. So that carries on until people are getting more and more on the board. They're losing a bit of money and then they're coming into a bit of money. The only space that is a bit different is 49. If you have 49 and the 49 card comes up, which there are a few of, and it is one like this with a payoff as well. If you win that bid and you have already got a token on the 49, you may place your token anywhere. If you win the bid and someone else has their token there, you may bump them from that space, and that's the only space that people can be bumped from, the 49 space. That is briefly how to play Game of 49. So Game of 49 is a really surprising game. It looks a little bit cheap, a little bit mass market. The components don't do much to persuade you otherwise. There's paper money, those see-through tiddlywinks. The orange and the red ones are very similar, preventing you really from having an enjoyable 5-player game, although it is quite chaotic at 5 players anyway. But the game is actually quite a lot of fun. It's very simple, that bidding mechanic for taking spaces, and you have to work out the value of each space, and that will potentially be different depending on the group. I do have a couple of issues. The first being player counts. I wouldn't play at 2 or 5. 5 is very chaotic, and I might play it occasionally if it wasn't for the colour, the colours of the orange and red being too similar. But for me, it's a 3 and 4 player game. The other slight issue is particularly at 3-player. 4-player negates it a little bit just by having more players in, but it's quite a slow starting game because you have to get your first square, then you have to kind of wait for ones that are near it, around it, or spread yourself out, those sorts of things. I would do a house rule where in 3 to 4 player games each player gets to put 1 chip out on one edge of the board but not a corner. and I think that will speed things up because it will give you some information about where you want to go, where you want to block other people, that sort of thing. Also, although the bidding is fun, it is a one-trick bidding game. It's not like Modern Art where there are different versions of auctions, and it would have been nice just for the longevity of the game to have various different auctions. You can, again, house rule those in, but it would be nice to have those built into the game. I do like the fun that I have in the game, the outbidding people, the kind of holding on to more money than people think you have to make that bid on the space that you really want. You would think it'd be really difficult to get that fourth space, but if you've played intelligently and if you've been careful with your money and let some other players outbid people when they're about to win, then it's not as difficult as you might think. There is luck in the game. The turns of the card are very lucky, but if you spread yourself intelligently on the board and take places that kind of link up eventually that might not look like they're close together, but you can make a line between them, then you're going to have a lot of options, and that's what you need to give yourself, a lot of options, because you don't know what card's coming up next. So a very simple game, fun though, more fun than it looks. Yeah, there's no real theme here, it's just numbers, and that's perhaps part of the problem, but also what makes it simple and accessible. Everyone knows numbers, and anyone could play this after a couple of minutes. I don't know why everything's limited to 49. I know there's 49 numbers, but with the money and stuff, that's just a bit of a hassle when you have paper money. The insert is kind of nicely thought out, but not quite there. The money tray is fine, and that really helps with the paper money, but the card tray has no recessed edge, so getting those cards out of there is more trouble than it's worth. You may as well just take the deck out rather than use that to play with. But again, it's a small thing. That's an extra they've kind of put in. So, intimidation factor, really low. It's really easy. You know what you're doing. The colour coding of the squares tells you which kind of more valuable, etc, etc. The rulebook is fine, no problems with the rulebook. Fun, yes, I have a lot of fun with this, particularly at 3 and 4 players. 5 players is that kind of chaotic fun where you're just kind of going, right, it's going to be a quick get, let's just play it. But it's more likely to end up where no one connects 4 and you have to do the tiebreakers. But yeah, there's fun to be had here, and more fun than it looks. Would I add it to my collection? I've been going back and forth on this. It's right on the line. Bearing in mind my collection's too large anyway, and I'm trying to shrink it down. For me, I think Modern Art achieves what I want an auction game to achieve of this kind of weight. So I would keep Modern Art. I probably wouldn't add this in, but if it was being played, I would always jump in and play it because it is a lot of fun. That is Game of 49. Thanks very much for watching Board, Deck and Dice. We will see you next time.